welcome to We Heard About Pluto, your favorite podcast about the show Friends.
That's not right at all. None of that is correct.
Hi, everybody. I'm George, and welcome to the best little horror house in Philly, the show where we ordinarily talk about the best horror movie ever made, according to our guests at least. But this is the third week of Plutember 2022, baby. In week 1, I was visited by the spirit of JP, who confronted me with the visage of the Lost Boys. Then in week 2, the ghost of Riggs and I bore witness to Malignant. But it's week 3, which means all the hosts of We Heard About Pluto will gather to discuss a movie I got to choose. And I fear this more than any specter I have seen, but I know its purpose is to do me good. And as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear their company and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me, Riggs and JP?
Whoa. George, welcome.
What's up, George? And welcome both of you. I'd like to welcome both of you.
Yeah, welcome, Riggs. Well, Riggs, welcome. Welcome to We Heard About Horror.
I know that Riggs has really developed a bit of welcoming people, so I want to make sure that I give Riggs time to welcome people.
It's not like a bit though. Like I genuinely welcome. Like I really do mean it. And that's why I'm so like, I like hearing you welcome here because you refuse to do it on We Heard About Pluto.
That's true. That is true. Well, that's why you're host prime. It's your job to welcome.
That's true. I am host
George,
prime.
was that the actual Dickens you were reading there?
It was. Well,
that was good.
I actually, I don't know if you could tell, I put you and Riggs' name in there.
I didn't catch that.
No. That's my parents named me after the Dickens character, JP.
Oh, there you go. Well, I am prepared to do it with a thankful heart. I'm very excited to have you guys back tonight. It's always great talking about movies with you. I love doing it individually, but when we get the boys together,
like
nice.
wailing.
I'm
just tuning my instrument. I'll be ready in a second.
That's right. Riggs has drums, so he's tuning a drum set somehow.
All right, he's pulling out a mouth harp, ladies and gentlemen. Bing, bong, bong, ding, dong, dong, bing, bong, bong, bong.
That's me right there.
It was pretty good, to be honest.
One of the coolest, and there are so many coolest parts about growing up in Baltimore, is we've got Fort McHenry here. And inevitably, you go to Fort McHenry on a field trip in elementary school, probably 3 or 4 times. Every single time I bought one of those damn mouth harps, like a colonial mouth harp.
Sure.
They're dumb. They're a good way to smash your teeth.
I mean, what else are you using them for?
What else are you going to do with your life besides smash your teeth?
That's right.
It's a reason to go to the dentist. Obviously.
This one trick to never seeing your dentist again. Yeah. It's don't buy a mouth harp.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 dentists agree. Don't smash your teeth in with a mouth harp.
Why do you think every dentist gives you a mouth harp on the way out?
They're trying to get you
it's
back
really,
in there,
my dentist, he had the treasure box, and I would like dig in, but all the treasures were just mouth harps.
Oh, it's a sticky hand.
There was like a ball in a cup. No sticky hands. You got a ball in a cup or a mouth harp.
Wow.
Oh, I miss those sticky hands.
Those sticky hands.
I got sticky hands right now.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Let's move on from that.
I was eating coffee before we recorded.
So, like I said, I actually got to pick tonight's movie, and I actually accidentally picked a movie with some thematic similarities to the Suspiria remake. That was my choice for last year's Plutember, and also an accidental topical choice with the protests happening in Iran right now. It is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, directed by Anna Lily Amirpour. What a movie. I fucking love this one. This is, again, one that I forced upon Riggs and JP. Neither one of them had seen it. I know that it was on your list, JP. I would love to hear a little bit just about what you guys knew about this movie going in, what you expected, that kind of stuff.
I didn't know anything about this movie. I saw the trailer a couple of years ago. I had it on my list. My buddies all told me it was so great. I didn't know what to expect other than it's a vampire movie, it's black and white, and it's beloved. This was a wild ride. Wild ride. Claire said it, I'm going to give her credit, but I defy you to find a genre that this movie is not.
Yeah, it's got it all going on. We talked about the genre blender last week with Riggs and Malignant, but this has got a lot of the same sort of blending going on.
It certainly does. I had no idea. I mean, I had never heard of this movie before, and I think it was the same. I'm in the same boat as I was with Suspiria. I don't think I have heard. I mean, you guys, know me by now, and I don't really the list and how I don't like know things in popular culture or have seen a lot of things.
Outside of Psych, he's an expert on Psych.
Totally. But, so this is really no exception. I had not heard of this before. And yeah, I was blown away. I had no idea what to expect. I knew it said on I think I watched it on Prime Video. And it like the little genre things it said like suspense, horror, Western. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? It was.
And it also said romance.
Yes. Romance too. So it had so many different things going on. And it was great. Nothing was overdone. I loved it all.
Absolutely. This one has some pretty interesting context, and we're going to talk about the themes pretty early in this conversation, I think, because it is so integral to the context of the movie. But Anna's atheist parents left Tehran for England at the start of the 1979 Iranian Revolution, wherein the country became an Islamic republic. They then moved to Miami and eventually California, where she also attended UCLA and first had the idea for the movie, seeing an extra on a short film she was working on walk through the set wearing a chador, which is a specific style of veil worn by some Muslim women. Amirpour tried it on and felt like a bat. Who hasn't been there? Put on a cape. Oh, I'm a bit of a bat now, aren't I?
Of course.
I every single time, literally, especially when you get the fangs in too, and then you start feeling like you need to flap your cape behind you.
Absolutely.
I also sleep upside down. So it's just that was natural for me.
Boy, you need to watch The Lost Boys. You're going to change your habits.
Well, this all led her to the concept of an Iranian vampire. And Amirpour wrote the script in Persian. It's spoken in Farsi. She hired, an entirely Iranian cast to represent the setting of a fictional city in Iran, though it was shot in Southern California. So there's an interesting, locational aesthetic combination that I'll talk about more a little later on, but it is so part and parcel of it. We always talk about how restrictions can breed creativity and how sometimes things work out in terms of you can't necessarily know going into it I can't shoot in Iran, so I'm going to shoot in my backyard here. I'll just shoot in California. You can't know how impactful on the themes that will become until it's in it,
right?
Until it's already happening,
until you see it. Yeah,
everything in this movie feels 100% deliberate, and I didn't know that personal history for the writer director, but you immediately have that feeling of pre-revolution, pre-coup Iran, because it's a time locked movie. It's not modern day. It's not necessarily, they're not giving you what date it is, but very much you get those underpinnings of the culture that you can read about in Iran that was just, when religious zealots came in, all of that went away. All of the modernization of Iran went away. And it almost feels like it's right in that end of days time period there, thematically and everything. But then you couple that with you can tell it's California if you really look. There were manicured lawns, and that's when I was like, that's not. I mean, of course, it wasn't Iran, but it also lends itself so well to it because consumer culture and capitalism are absolutely part of the many themes in this. That style of California manicured lawn fits into a lot of. I'm sure you're going to get into this, George, but not knowing that, it was so cool to see that and to know these choices were made to create this entire tapestry.
Yeah.
Movie look good, Regs like.
Couldn't have said it better myself, honestly.
It's hitting on all levels.
I just can't that with JP. That was just so well said, and there's nothing I could say to add to that other than I really do think I couldn't tell. I was fooled. When they were just looking at it, and I think the use of black and white really helped this setting, where it was in that kind of had that industrial feel to it. I guess now that I know it's California, it does make sense thinking back on it, but it did have that and the black and white and the lighting that they used throughout too, just really gave it that that I don't know, that gritty feel I think they were going for.
Sure. Feels like Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Yes. And I will say before we move on, there was a palm tree of sorts at one point.
Yes.
And I was watching with Claire, and she immediately screamed, "I spotted the pineapple, motherfuckers!"
Wow. Oh yeah, the pineapple palm trees.
Yep. She spotted the pineapple.
There were a bunch of them.
All right. Finally chalk one up for her.
We're going to put that on the board. We'll give her a point in the other podcast. You know what? I'm updating the list right now.
She deserves it. Can't ever come in last with Nate and Days.
Yeah, seriously.
So the film follows the titular girl. She never gets a name. And she is a vampire gal who wears a chador, played by Sheila Vand, who is stunning. She is incredible in this. She's totally magnetic. I mean, just what an incredible performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just her presence is captivating, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's well said, Reach, because what I was going to say is she doesn't say very much at all. She says it through looks, gestures, and she's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It also takes a lot of influence from its vampiric forebears, or forebats, if you will.
I will.
With the black and white photography, the intense shadow work, and that minimalist dialogue. You know, it helps to kind of create a mesmerizing feeling, which I think is so interesting because that is famously one of the like vampiric power sets is hypnotism. And it does that just by drawing you in. You know, when they do talk, it's so rare that you are leaning in to hear what they say. And like you said, they are truly captivating. Mm-hmm. That's a great word for it.
We will get to it, and I don't want to jump ahead, so I will just say it kind of ambiguously. But there's a scene in this. There's several, but there's one scene in this movie in particular. There is no dialogue. They crank up the soundtrack. They don't say a word to each other. They act the entire scene through looking at one another, touching one another. I have never seen a more powerful scene in a movie, and with not a line of dialogue. Like, no joke, George, I know that this is this week's the best horror movie ever. This is one of the best movies ever. I legitimately stand by it.
Dude, I fucking love it, bro.
Unbelievable, bro. They were ready for their close-up, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I talked a bit during the Carrie episode about the monstrous feminine. And here, the girl sort of subverts that idea. Mm-hmm. Ordinarily, characters that hit the monstrous feminine hallmarks see them having masculine traits that make them monstrous, functionally standing in for a masculine role. You can see it even with another vampire in From Dusk Till Dawn, when Selma Hayek transforms to become both grotesque and dangerous. And you compare that to the girl, who is not only beautiful, but also remains that way, despite her dispatching of the distinctly male population around her, while remaining A, modestly dressed, and B, modestly vampiric. You know, the fangs come out, but it's never like that crazy. Like, she's not Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s in here. It's just really such a fascinating way to handle the character and a vampire in general.
It totally was. Like, the way they handle the vampire was really interesting to me. She was just kind of like just a girl who happens to be a vampire. She's listening to music and everything. She's developing feelings for someone else. You know, it's like she's just like it seems like she's just like a regular person that also just happened to be a Dracula.
Sure.
She was a skateboarding Dracula, no less.
Skateboarding Dracula. Yeah, that was cool.
The best kind.
The characterization of the titular girl was exceptional for, I mean, this is just one of several reasons, but she never does turn into that thing, which is funny because so much of her character is built around her mimicking the things that men say and do to her. And so, but she never reflects the monster like you're talking about, the transformation, but rather she just literally, I mean, you have a scene where she is mimicking the movements of the father character.
Yeah.
When she is first seen and in a scene where the drug dealer is touching her face, and it's supposed to be him like trying to be sexy with her, but it's a violation, and you feel creeped out. And then she bites off his finger and uses his finger to do the same thing to his face. She's no more a monster than him, and that's at the heart of like what's so powerful about that characterization is they don't make her a monster. I always like I always posit the alternative theory where, okay, but what if the magic supernatural stuff wasn't really happening? Is there a way you can look at this movie differently? The Witch is the one I always go to, where like there's a version of The Witch that you can watch it and it's just about isolation, desperation, starvation, loneliness, and ultimately, like, the girl didn't join witches. They just like died out there, and she was going crazy being alone, whether you buy it or not. Here, there's a version of this story that's really about a hurt woman who has been so decimated by men that she doesn't trust or want to be around men, but they continue to pursue her. And she only goes after the people who are perpetuating cruelty against women. And all that she's doing is mimicking their behavior, but they see her as other. They see her as a vampire. A woman can't do the things that men do. That she must be creepy and monstrous.
Yeah.
That characterization is so awesome because it's not grotesque, and she's never flying or super powerful, although she does do some good teleporty stuff at times.
Yeah, I agree. And look, the cape, she looks like she's flying when she's on that skateboard.
Yes, she does.
She's not one-dimensional, which is a lot of what vampires, they can be a lot of the time when they're in stuff, film, movies, and TV. It's always like kind of like one thing. Like she's a bunch of different things. She's, like I said, listening to music, doing skateboarding stuff, which is fun. I wish she would have done a kickflip.
That would have been that's the one issue with this movie.
Yeah, I wish she would have done.
She doesn't do any tricks.
Or grinded a rail at some,
a nollie, perhaps.
Right. So, 1080?
What if she did? Or Christ Air.
Okay, we're just digging up the Tony Hawk stuff.
It's Christ Air, I think.
Yeah, Christ Air.
What if she did like a 4-time rail grind, like, and then off the stairs into the pool?
What if she collected the S on the top of the school?
Oh, that'd be so cool. It's sitting there the whole movie. You're waiting for the.
What if instead of her on the skateboard, it was somehow Spider-Man,
Yeah. Oh, man. That would be sick.
Oh, my God.
Or Bam Margera, But I had ways that they could have improved this movie.
And the Avengers show up. Yeah.
What if the Jackass crew ran wild in this movie?
Oh, my God. Johnny Knoxville's there?
What about that?
With Thor? Yeah.
The ghost of Ryan Dunn shows up.
Wow.
But just like the wink at him at the end.
Yeah. He's a ghost, and she's a vampire. It makes sense, the supernatural element.
That's the love story.
Audiences will eat that shit up.
I'll eat that shit up.
And there was one scene where, like, she was wearing the... What's it called again, George?
Chador.
Chador, okay. She's skating towards the camera. She looks like she knows how to skate, but then you don't see her face in that shot. And I couldn't tell if Sheila is actually a skater or not. Because in another scene, she's like on the skateboard clearly, but she's up against the wall and just like pulling herself forward.
It was the director, in fact, who is a lifelong skater.
I read that, yeah. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
That rules.
Yeah, it is cool. But all of this that we're talking about, all of this characterization, all of what she's doing, does align her with the Aviva Briefel theory, that does draw a distinction between male and female horror villains with, quote, male monsters reveling in masochistic acts, including self-mutilation, like Freddy Krueger. You see him like slicing at his own head to juice himself up before kill, versus female monsters tending to commit acts of violence out of revenge. And she also specifically calls out vampirism and the recurring thirst for blood as a metaphorical menstruation that does align vampires with female characters.
Interesting.
This movie has an awareness of, like, I would not be surprised to learn that the director is like a huge movie history buff. Like this is not someone who like just was like, oh, spooky vampires, that's fun. Like this is someone who understands film and understands the history of vampire films.
Sure, vampires being fun is icing on the cake, baby. That said, vampires are simply positioned as an appealing fringe as well. The border between death and life is a lot of what people get into about vampires. And finding family on the fringes is certainly a theme that the movie is exploring, as is that being caught between two things. And that's something that I definitely want to talk about some, because there's an emphasis on that family and the idea of home in a lot of movies, books, comics, from diasporic communities like Iran's displaced population post-revolution, where it sort of transcends physical boundaries to become more abstract. It's like a blend of memories and hope. And these texts help to mediate that immigrant experience while also building, and the term is an imagined community of sentiment regarding their specific experience of exile. And I saw this a lot in Hebrew school growing up, and they like specifically highlighted like works about like, oh, going back to Israel and next year in Israel and all of these things that emphasize sort of
Ernest Goes to Israel.
Exactly. Ernest Goes to Israel was my favorite movie. All of these things that are about sort of being a Jew outside of Israel. And all of these things that, even if you're not specifically in America, theoretically, someone who is more strictly Jewish might be able to relate to. And obviously that is transferable to any diasporic community that, are people who had to leave Iran because the Islamic Republic took over and everything. It's present in a lot of Iranian media, basically. There are people whose history is Iranian. Now, there is some interesting thought, though, about how this longing for home isn't tied to diaspora specifically, but rather just part of a sort of postmodern attempt to self-actualize. And that the feeling of being caught between, say, ethnicity and nationality is simply one of 1,000 in-between spaces like gender, age, and class, where the artistic output is more simply ascribed to emancipation through storytelling. There's a famous essay from Virginia Woolf in which she says, quote, "A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction." And she is describing exactly that emancipation. And I think that what makes a Girl Walks Home Alone at Night so interesting is that it does function as sort of a cry of freedom against the imposed will of both local community and nation at large.
This movie is absolutely, I mean, even just as a movie, as one of just the thousands and thousands of films out there, this movie is absolutely making a statement of existence. This is my thing. This is something different. No one is doing this. And to think about the roots of where that's coming from, and whether the identity is tied to that loss of homeland and culture, or whether it is simply just an establishment of new and like, look, this is who I am. That's a part of it, but it's not about that. This is my place now. This is where I am. This is my thing. It doesn't even matter because it does both so well. And it's just like, this isn't like coming into a room quietly. This is kicking in the doors and like being announced.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that theme is even like, it's so present in the movie, but it doesn't feel like it's being called attention to in any kind of specific way. Like it just kind of blends right together with the story, which speaks to like the craft of it.
That's exactly it. And that's what's so beautiful about this movie. Like the first thought I had about it was, there are a lot of movies that'll do weird for weird's sake. Like they just want you scratching your head and saying, what's that about? Everything here that was weird also felt like it wasn't weird for weird's sake. That there was something, some symbology, some theme, some motif, some meaning to every little choice they made in this. And it just like, but Briggs, to your point, it never felt spoon-fed and it never felt ham-fisted. Right. It just felt like they put just enough of everything on the screen for it to be a functional, fully operating thing. There was no excess.
I totally agree. And I think that part of what's so interesting about this movie and what plays into that is that a lot of the recognized, like the people, like the Iranian women who have been getting recognition, oftentimes it is with memoirs and autobiographical works. And this breaks that trend by being narrative fiction, but still manages to raise interesting questions about those same themes. And the fact that it is so blended into the story makes it kind of fascinating that it does almost still manage to feel autobiographical and pull in some of those same elements while being a narrative fiction work.
It beautifully walks that line because it does. There are parts about the skateboarding vampire romance movie that feel autobiographical.
Sure.
It does. It feels like the stuff that's going on, it just exists in this world, and the movie is being like it is. They're just shooting this stuff happening in real time, and it's just this world already exists. It's crazy how they were able to do that. I couldn't.
and a shout out because we're definitely talking about the titular girl a lot. Every other actor in this, and it's a very small cast, every single one of them was amazing. The prostitute, just like I loved her, and I was so sad about her life. The little boy, the father, who you may recognize from such things as The Big Lebowski or How I Met Your Mother. Just an amazing cast.
Oh, do you know him from I have it written down here. Did you guys know him from another thing besides those two things? Because I didn't think
Psych.
Reeds did his research.
Is he in Psych?
Oh, the tables have turned. I know something you guys don't.
Wow,
know.
What's he in?
Maybe that one.
Was it Good Girls? He was in Good Girls.
Maybe that one episode of Entourage where Vinny Chase buys the Rolls Royce. Remember that?
Wow. I don't remember that specifically, but I did watch all of Entourage.
Sells him the Rolls Royce.
Did not watch the movie.
Bro, I watched the whole Entourage. I don't remember that at all, bro.
Wow. Was that when Vinny Chase was filming Aquaman?
I think it's when Vinny Chase was filming that Medellin movie.
I remember that.
Who was he in Entourage?
He was the guy. He was in one episode. He worked at the Rolls Royce dealership.
All right, work.
And I looked at him. I'm like, that's the guy from Entourage in the Rolls Royce episode. And I'm like, wow,
Guys,
it is him.
If you need any pop culture knowledge on How I Met Your Mother or Entourage, Reeves is your guy.
That's right.
There you go.
I'm like, I know George and JP's ass is not going to know this. I have.
He scooped us. Big time. So the movie creates a liminal space in Bad City, which is where it takes place. Like I said, it's a fictional city. It's a sort of a disorienting amalgamation of the specific and the general. Like Reeg said, further enhanced by the decision to shoot in black and white, which distorts your ability to tell day from night as well. It's just great. It just looks incredible.
It does. The light, it just looks like it was only shot using the natural light, which is so cool to me. Especially like the shots of like inside that the trailer that they live in, and like the outside shots of like the industrial part. It looks so cool. So cool.
Yeah. Distortion is, in fact, the name of the game, though, for this movie, emphasized by the drug use within. Our male lead, Arash, played by Arash Marandi, has a father who is constantly numbing himself to the grief of a lost wife with heroin, and he himself takes ecstasy before discovering the girl. And the drug use creates a kind of nebulous objectivity for the viewer that I think is interesting. Like JP said, it does make you feel like, well, what if none of this is really happening? What if the supernatural stuff, is not really going on? But it also creates a nebulous objectivity for the characters, too, where reality melds with fantasy. You know, you see Arash dressed as a vampire while meeting a real vampire. It kind of underscores the tension of presentation and objective experience. You know, they talk about how you don't know me, you don't know the bad things I've done.
Right.
And there's a question of like, you know, I talk about it all the time. One of my favorite movies is Solaris. Yes. And basically the moral of that story is, how can you possibly love me? You can't even know me. It is literally impossible. I can barely know myself.
This is one of my favorite points in the movie, for at least from my interpretation. The male characters, for the most part, cannot see the female characters as who they are, as people. So the drug dealer, he just treats the sex worker however he wants. He does not see her as the person that she is. And meanwhile, the first time the girl sits down with the sex worker, she sees her immediately and gets her immediately. I've been watching you. Here are the things I know about you and your happiness. And the way it really crystallizes is when the father is going through withdrawal and then taking drugs again, and he thinks that the cat is his dead wife, and he sees the pictures of his dead wife, and he gets angry at them and he smashes them. He can't see her. The men cannot see the women in this. But the flip side is our main male character. He's high on ecstasy, and you worry that, like, well, maybe he isn't seeing her. But after they first meet, then he goes back. He did see her. He saw her as something different, and I think that's the whole appeal between the two characters, is that they do see each other in a world where men and women have so much the men really have so much trouble seeing the women as people and recognizing their individuality.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think the scene where she kind of intimidates the child, I think that's the one where it's like, because I think they do touch on her being a monster a little bit, like with that scene alone, because it's not so like he's just a kid, you know what I mean? Like she's the one that's the more threatening figure, I guess, if you were to just zoom out on it without knowing she's a vampire. So I like how they kind of they blend that in too, because I'm not gonna kind of peed my pants a little during that scene. It was very scary. It was very scary.
And she was really mean to him. My thought was after the fact, in the moment,
get him on the right path.
Well, that's what it was. In the moment, I was like, well, that was a little too much. But then, if you buy into what I'm saying, because of whatever her unexplored past is, she's been hurt by men repeatedly, and she's trying to be like, look, I can see you, little twerp. Yeah. I know exactly who you are. You're not a good person. And that's the arc that the character's on, because she ultimately is able to find a man that she does trust, that she is willing to take a chance. But yeah, that with the kid, it really was. It made her villainous. It made her like, okay, I was all for. I'm pro killing rapey drug dealers, but I'm not about bullying little kids.
I honestly am going to push back on this a little bit, because I don't think that it made her villainous. I think that she is clearly. I mean, look, maybe it's not her place, but this kid is begging for money. We've never seen his parents around. She's trying to set him on the right path, and we've seen the negative element in this town. I think that she's doing it for his own good, and she doesn't actually hurt him. She just gives him a little scare. I don't. Well, it's a tough thing to say, but I don't think she did anything wrong.
Saying she's not even a little. I mean, tell that to the piss-soaked carpet that's on my floor right now. From after I watched that scene.
Peeing your pants is cool.
Yeah, Miles Davis.
It was super scary to me. That's what I'm saying, and.
It gave you spook. It's not as spooky as like skeletons coming out of somebody's body while they're recording a podcast, but
sure,
pretty spooky.
But it's especially compared to the rest of the movie.
Yes,
it feels very sudden, which is good. I like.
Yeah, but again, I think I was just looking for a justification for it, and I think it still brings me back to like she's tired of men, boys and men. Right. Like they're rotten and awful.
She sees the man he will become.
Mm-hmm. She knows the city, bad city.
Yeah. Bad city, baby. And this tension between presentation and objective experience does extend to Bad City at large, which I said is not really Iran, nor really in the West, because it's meant to appear as Iran. And from a thematic perspective, it is the most direct representation of that diaspora. And it does reinforce the questioning of if diaspora is what's causing the issues so often ascribed to it, when they flee it, ultimately. They leave Bad City at the end, and feeling a lack of fixed meaning, feeling detached and isolated from your surroundings may well be because of the socioeconomic pressures like class and gender that exile them within society and not externally from society, as opposed to leaving a nation. You can see this in Arash's poverty, his father's addiction, and the girl's vampirism as just like allegorical isolation. Each of these is a symptom of a larger emotional and material force, whether it's unexplored trauma in your background, whether it is the emotional toll that the death of your wife takes, whether it is having to care for your drug-addicted father. These are social pressures that are not coming from having left a nation, but they are still reflecting this crisis of identity.
You see that with Arash too, when he immediately, like when he realizes the drug dealer's dead, like assumes his identity almost.
Take it over, yeah.
Riggs, that was exactly my point. I think that in the vein of that theme, I think that what you're seeing is people who have to come to the conclusion that staying as a part of this is destroying me. It's making me into this.
Right.
Yeah.
And therefore I need to leave. In that vein, it thematically perfectly fits. One of the things that you see imagery of the most in this movie are oil derricks drilling for oil, which is essentially a vampire sucking the blood out of the earth. And but it's also presented as like, this is modernization. This imagery is meant to show you like where they are and the culture that they're in is part of like sucking the life out of things.
Oh,
that's so good.
Oh, it's so fucking
good.
That's
so
man.
fucking good.
This movie's so good, guys. It's so good.
Man.
And belonging to a diasporic community is kind of a paradoxical vampire itself, because all of the descriptions of being exiled are of stasis, of simultaneous postponement and finality. You're never feeling rooted because you're always looking backwards, but you're also feeling like there's no way back. And in that way, community members do have this sense of belonging together, but it can be that barrier to self-actualization, which brings us right back to emancipation through storytelling, baby.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, that's fascinating. The characters, every one of the non-two main characters, or at the very least the sex worker, who she hasn't had children, she's not doing anything to move her life forward, and the point they make about her is that she just feels like she's doing the same things every day, and there's nothing she thinks about wanting or doing.
Right.
Like that really heavily plays into it. The father who is addicted to heroin and wants to quit, but also doesn't take any efforts to actually quit it. In fact, starts to spread it to other people. Like when he injects the sex worker, which, by the way, I've never been angry at a character in my life than in that moment.
It was really grim.
Yeah, it was
grim moment.
rough.
It was awful. But it's almost the I don't say this just because I'm from Maryland. I think it's a perfect metaphor. But it's the crabs in the bushel, and if one tries to escape, the other ones pull them back down.
There you go.
That feeds into this exact idea of like that not moving forward, but still stuck in a place where you can't go back, but you constantly think about it. And I think that's really the rest of the characters. That's what we're looking at. That's the setting.
Yeah, exactly.
George, for just my Midwest people that'll be listening, the crab reference JP just made for East Coast people, you could just chop that up and add in hot dogs.
I was going to say hot dogs. Hot dogs just pulling each other back into the hot dog bun.
And then,
I remember going to Portillo's and seeing them pull out the bushel of hot dogs, and you see the hot dogs pulling each other back down.
Beautiful. Right. It's beautiful.
It's glorious.
If you haven't seen live hot dogs interacting with one another, it's crazy.
I remember seeing the live hot dog and that Let's All Go to the Lobby.
I can't believe nobody broke there. That was really funny.
I was so close.
Do you remember that Let's All Go to the Lobby, Fleischer Brothers?
The hot dog.
Yes.
The popcorn, the soda.
The living hot dog does tricks. The living he's like the...
Wait, what?
The living hot dog
does tricks. Are you thinking of Poochie? I think you're thinking of Poochie.
The living hot dog does tricks.
That sounds like a code.
Yeah, it does. The living hot dog does tricks? I can't even say it.
No, he's like in a carnival setting, and the guy is like cracking a whip, and the living hot dog is doing flips, or it's the bun. The bun is doing
the
that,
living bun.
He jumps into the bun.
Oh, okay. I just like the
I don't think I went to the same movie theaters as you, George.
I feel like I'm having a fever dream.
Yeah,
right
it sounds
now.
like a fever dream, or maybe a shroom
it's
trip.
Wow, I'm stuck in that city.
They march. I don't remember where they're going, but they're going somewhere and they're marching towards it. I can't recall.
That's also happening.
Are you thinking about the AMC theaters where you ride like a roller coaster and there's like a big popcorn pops over here and then you go past a soda and you can hear the bubble?
That's Cinemark. I don't think that's.
Is it Cinemark?
The living hot dog, bro, jumps into the happy bun.
I forgot about that. Look, that's real.
Oh, bro, you talking about the hot dog and the buns doing tricks and?
Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm going to find it, and I'm going to put it in the show notes for this episode, and everyone will know that I'm right.
When you post the episode, then the first reply is going to be the video.
Yes, and everyone will see.
Let's all go to the lobby and do some sick bun tricks.
Here's a living hot dog. Do you see?
Do you see? Click. Here's a skateboarding vampire. Do you see? Click. Indiegogo funded the feature film after her successful short appealed to 290 backers, bringing in just under $57,000, with perks like name a street in Bad City. Anna said, quote...
Okay, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. She said, quote, getting your first feature financed is really tough. You're asking for money and people are looking for reasons to give you the money. Even with a great script, people are trying to reduce their risk, genre, talents, pre-sale, incentives, etc. It's funny because we still had much more commercially viable projects we were developing, but you're still asking people to give you money. And the fact that you haven't made a feature before is the biggest roadblock. So we decided to go out and make a film, to make something with what we had and not rely on others to make a film. We didn't want to wait. We wanted full control to use the resources we had, use stuff within reach. We knew the locations. We knew all the actors. We had the T-Bird, the car.
That car's a beaut.
It is.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. And crowdfunding is a part of that. It's a platform to get the people who believe in you to come together and support your project and your dreams. No matter how big or small, sure, fame and branding can help reach masses, but we didn't think of it that way. We didn't have a gadget or a pre-existing fan base to bank on. We wanted to tell the people who knew what we were doing and how they could support us. That's how we used crowdfunding. Everything else was gravy.
Wow.
There you go.
That's crazy. And the fact that they just did it.
So awesome.
Directing without borders. Really. And I read something too where she said she makes movies to make friends, where the cast and the crew, everyone is super passionate and on a vision quest to make the movie. Wow. I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I watched Vision Quest. It's a bad movie. Sorry, Nate.
Take that, Nate.
Take that, Nate. Dumbass.
And it was a success. It made $628,000 at the box office, and it got plenty of critical love as well, in addition to being named the best horror movie ever made. Right damn here.
Wow. The highest of honors.
That's so awesome. I'd love to hear that. I know that our lead actor and the director have worked on at least one or two other projects together. But you just love to see someone able to make their actual passion project, not a vanity thing, but just like they got the funding and they made it happen. I fucking love that. It's Sam Raimi with Evil Dead, Robert Rodriguez when he first did El Mariachi. Like, you just make it happen, and like you use whatever budget you can, and you make the movie you want to make, and it launches some people.
Yeah. Elijah Wood's company, Spectre Vision, is involved in that as well, which...
Yes, I was so excited I saw his name on the screen.
Yep. They're involved in the distribution and production aspect of that side of things. So
very cool.
God bless. I love that he's doing these weird little movies.
Bless up.
Yeah.
This movie did big numbers in Mordor, for the record.
Sure did. They had to carry it all the way there.
Damn.
Got him. Stuck the landing.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just ride the birds the whole way there, George?
That's
okay. We don't have to get into this, but there is a reason. There are several reasons, in fact. All right, you know what? Let's actually get into it. First of all, they're not pack animals. Right. All right? They are noble creatures. You don't just say
they're very good. They're pretty good eagles.
It's not a fucking taxi cab, bro.
It's not a fucking taxi cab, bro. All right, go birds. Not a taxi cab.
There's two great eagles. The one in Mordor and Donovan McNabb.
That's right.
On top of that, the whole point of the mission is that they're being sneaky. Okay? You got this giant-ass flame eye looking at everything. It's a lot easier to see a bunch of big-ass eagles flying at you than it is to see a bunch of tiny little hobbits.
Tiny. That's true.
They're so tiny.
All right, I'm going to admit it. You won me over. And by won me over, I mean the character I was playing that was being facetious about this. You totally won him over, too.
Yes. I did it.
So Elijah Wood helped to distribute this film, which is crazy awesome.
Yeah.
I like him so much as a person.
I still just always think of him as the little kid in Back to the Future Part 2. That game's for babies. He's the guy who says that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you were going to go with like Radio Flyer or
Sin City
or Avalon.
Yes,
he was also in Sin City. That's true.
Look, he's great in Sin City.
Yeah.
But when Marty McFly goes to the diner, and he's like, "Oh, you still got the arcade game in here?" And the little kid's like, "You use your hands? That game's for babies." That's little Elijah Wood.
That's a Hobbit right fucking there. It's a Hobbit.
That's really good to know. So the Hobbit actually takes place in the future, not in the past.
Because they're going back to the future. So it's like...
we're going to return to the future.
Yes.
Middle Earth.
Oh. It's actually a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
No,
so it's like...
that's another
thing.
They
just have different technology. Like, it's a different pace, you know? Does that make sense to you, JP?
That makes good sense. Anyway, did you guys watch all of Andor yet? It's really good.
I will never watch a Star Wars television show, and you can take that to the fucking bank.
Wow. I did take it to the bank, and they had no idea what to do with it. Oh, yeah, here's a slip that says George won't watch a Star Wars show. You're like, okay.
George, that is the weirdest hill to die on, seriously. And there's some good Star Wars show.
I don't like Star Wars in general.
You can't deposit this.
The idea of not only watching Star Wars media, but then also watching a television show of it is just abhorrent to every fiber.
Oh, you don't like television shows anyway. That's true. Reeves.
That's right.
I have another co-host lined up for Pluto.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, well, I think he can hear us. So, George?
You guys, your audio cut out.
If I use this voice, you can't hear me.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, cool. Yes.
I'm like a dog. You talk at certain megahertz, and I just don't hear it anymore.
Oh, you're like a dog? That explains all the bones.
Wow.
Oh, fuck, dude.
This requires
wait, what the audience doesn't understand... This is an audio medium for all y'all at home, so you're just like a little bit spooked out. But let me tell you that not only does George have a skeleton jumping out of his body on the side, but then in the middle he's got a gosh darn ghost.
Fuck.
That's true. I'm really going overboard right now in terms of...
He's also assless because JP just got his ass.
Damn.
This is also true.
Oh, this is true. I don't even know how George is
I will describe my outfit for the listeners. I am wearing a shirt in which Michael Myers is dressed up as Bob the Ghost.
The murderer.
You know the murderer, Michael Myers?
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen Michael Myers the 13th?
Yes, Michael Myers the 13th on Halloween. He is dressed up as Bob the Ghost. He's wearing some fun glasses. And also, if you look, it actually ends in a knife there.
Oh, I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fun.
It also, at first glance, it just looks like you've got like a cravat or something on. Like you look like you're one of the vampires from What We Do in Shadows. Oh, I meant to say that earlier. We were talking about like distortion of what you're seeing, and I gotta say that at certain times when our main guy was dressed as a vampire, I kept thinking that he was Taika Waititi in What We Do in Shadows.
He did have a similar look to him.
The collar is so high. He's got the curly hair. And he's got the eyeshadow on.
Oh, that's great.
It's pretty close. Also, the other thing that I'm wearing, the bones thing that JP was referencing, is I'm wearing a Creepy Co. cardigan that is half bones, half regular sweater. And Creepy Co., this is incredibly comfortable. So if you want to send me free stuff, I will happily take it.
Nice.
I'm wearing Creepy Co., and this is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn. And I honestly, I'm going to be telling everybody, all my loved ones, all my friends,
Okay.
I've got a hit.
I'm shutting this down. I'm shutting this down.
I'm going to be advertising. You guys, everybody should get Creepy Co.
I'm shutting this down
it's what you know.
because if anyone is going to shamelessly sell out, it's going to be me.
It's a cool ass. It
is a fun sweater. I like it a lot, and I got a lot of compliments on it. So take that for what it's worth.
A lot.
Spooky.
There you go. That's why I said it. Let's get into the movie. We start off with Arash, a smoldering James Dean type, sneakily cat burgling someone in the truest sense of the word, as in he burgles them of their cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good cat. That cat is my favorite character.
Pretty great cat. And he walks home through the ghost town over the opening credits, which I love, and leads to one of my all-time fave title cards. It just fucking looks badass over that valley of corpses.
It does.
Oh my god, it's so cool. That's what makes
The
it feel
Valley
like
of
a
Corpses
western.
is so creepy, and they never address it. It's just Bad City has just a gulch where you can just dump
That's
bodies.
how blasé Bad Town is about death and violence, baby. Arash doesn't look at it. It's loaded with body. The sound distorts and the camera gets funky. It's cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. This is just any other day for them.
Mm-hmm. Arash gets into his T-Bird, a car he worked 2,191 days to afford, which he tells the young man begging him for money. and he heads home to his heroin-addicted father. For some reason, the shooting up between the toes was really disturbing to me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen that happen. And that got me too.
You're hanging out with a lot of people injecting heroin?
I mean, on TV, but yes, I am.
Yes, it was so disturbing. It was like I think it was the only moment in the movie where I had to look away. I don't want to see someone injecting heroin in between their toes.
Dude, needles are gross. It's a gross idea, putting something in
it. It is. The toes. Yeah. No.
This is actually a drug PSA in disguise.
Folks, don't do drugs. We won't think you're cool.
Weed. Maybe a little ecstasy. He's fine on ecstasy in this.
Yeah, it seemed to work out okay for
I'm
him.
here to talk to you about drugs. Don't do drugs. Just get yourself a Bible and invest in any kind of cryptocurrency you can. NFTs are a great deal.
FTX seems to be doing really well.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it.
Yeah. The local pimp is also the drug dealer, and they're in serious debt to him despite Arash's efforts to keep up with the payments. He's also bitter about the dealer getting his dad hooked, even more so when the dealer takes the car as payment. My man does a classic wall punch.
A brick wall punch really hard twice.
That's
it. Really
you do it once. He got away with it the first time.
Him, please don't do that.
Yeah. Like your hand had to have broken after the first one.
Well, no, he got away with it the first time, and then he got cocky. And he said, I'm going in for wall punch number 2.
That's another thing, like back to back with the heroin toes and this. Two things that it was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Guys, in one of the seasons of Supernatural, Jared Padalecki actually broke his arm in a stunt, and then they had to have him in a cast for the rest of the season and come up with plot reasons why he was in a cast.
Wow. That's creative writing right there.
How about that?
Yeah.
There's a scene later on that Jamie talked about, which we will also discuss more in detail, I'm sure, but there's a moment where a finger is a clear phallic image, and applying that to this scene, it's easy to see this hand injury as him feeling emasculated.
And we want to jump in, George, and say there's 2 scenes, because first he's with the sex worker and he puts his finger on her.
Right, it's just his classic seduction.
Right. But it is absolutely like the phallic finger thing happens both with the sex worker, and then we get the
reversal,
the redo with the girl.
Right. Arash is working as a gardener on the rich side of town, and he's called into the house of a wealthy client who is talking about an upcoming costume party so that he can fix her TV. When he asks her to leave so that he can work, she laughs at the idea of their being alone in the room together being inappropriate. And again, that sort of brings that middle third area thing into being, where it's like, well, it's set in Iran, but it's like modern Iran, where they're not as concerned with following every single rule that the morality police or whatever are interested in enforcing.
And that character is so interesting because she represents that, like, she's from a family that bought into whatever version of corruption and making money, and so the rules don't apply to her. Like, none of the rules apply to her, and that she represents that. If our main characters are struggling with, like, coming to terms with this identity of, like, where you're from that you can't go back to, or where you're going, that character represents, like, this is the person who is raised in the corruption. This is what they're like.
Well, I just think they do so, like, it establishes the class structure in this movie, like, right away, like within, like, you know, like a minute, not even a lot of screen time, which I think this movie just does so well. Where, like I said earlier, the hit on the themes, you know, it's seamless.
Yes. And I talked about earlier how it's possible that this is more a social issue that is causing this distress and this sort of feeling aimless. And this woman never feels anything less than thrilled with her life, you know, and she is avoiding those social issues. She has 100%. Money. She has the money to take care of herself. She's taking party drugs instead of like having a father hooked on heroin.
Yeah.
It's just kind of truly a representational juxtaposition.
Yes.
Well, and she there's the scene where she's not only buying ecstasy from him, getting ecstasy from him, convincing him to give it to her for free. but then also makes him take it. Right, but also, like, I mean, that again is like the power dynamic and the class struggle.
Right, he wants to impress them, yeah.
And he's also seduced by her forcing him to take it as well. Yeah. He doesn't want to. He says no, but in the end, like, that's the corruption of exactly that character and what she represents and what they're doing to our main character.
Yep. Although I will say he is conflicted, but does steal some diamond earrings from her here. So there you go.
It's true.
She deserved it.
Kind of
Look, who says no? Who says no?
Right. You were right there.
Yeah. The pimp is showing off his new car to his employee, we'll say, named Ati, and he's pressuring her about her age and then, pawing at her mouth, which after hesitating, she does suck his finger. And then she starts to go down on him for real, and someone starts to watch. We don't see really who it is, but obviously we know that it's the girl. And when he feels their presence, he turns with a start, and there's nobody. And he's freaked out. He literally throws the sex worker out of the car and refuses to give her her cut, saying that she's light and a hag before driving off. First of all, a lot of great close-ups here. But then in addition to that, the idea of attacking not only her externality, her looks, and saying you're old, you're past your prime, but then in addition to that, you're not even good at what I've forced you into.
Right.
You're light. You're not. You can't even do this. Truly, like, just cutting her down at the basis level.
Yeah. Very cruel.
This is just the very casual, normalized abuse of women. I mean, it's just, he's so awful to her, and I think she just comes out as one of the most sympathetic and wonderful characters, and she's just, the actor plays it so well. She plays the character in a very strong front, deep hurt way. She does it so well, and like, this scene was just brutal. It immediately endears you to hating the drug dealer.
It was brutal, but it was also like it looked not like the content what was on the screen, but the way it was like shot through the rear window of the car.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool as hell.
Like her watching it.
Exactly.
It was voyeuristic. Yes, it was her watching things going on.
Yes.
The girl emerges from a shop and she walks home looking very normal. She dances in her room to an absolute banger song. I should say, the soundtrack rips. I listen to it frequently.
So amazing.
Yeah.
George, did you notice any of the posters behind her?
So I didn't write them down, but I did clock them. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what they are?
Well, the two that I really loved, one was Robin, who you may know is still an electronic dance music artist. She's been doing her shit for 30 plus years.
The Phillies do Dancing on My Own all the time.
Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, it's a good song. And then there was also a Michael Jackson Thriller album cover.
There you go.
Back there. But that was why I was really feeling like this is why it's time lost. Like, it's time locked. Like, this is the music she listens to primarily is heavily influenced by like 80s synth pop or like proto emo, like she's listening to shit that I love, even though I didn't recognize a lot of it. It was also like, this is my jam. Yeah. But and it sets that scene of like, she's obsessed with music and with that version of pop culture.
Right. That's her way of expressing herself.
Mm-hmm. Also, just humanizes her in a way that like, this is, this like, again, a normal, like just an everyday kind of person listens to music,
She danced the way I dance in my kitchen when I'm cooking and making and listening to music. Like it felt very real, and it also felt like I can't speak to the actor or what really went on set, but it felt like this character is listening to this song and loving this song, and it really draws you in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also love, they talk about how the veil is like her superhero outfit, and that like she puts it on to go out and fight crime. And you can kind of see that here where she like puts on her war paint, basically. Like she puts on the makeup and everything. But the difference between her when she's there and dancing versus the person she is when she's out there vigilanteing is a really interesting difference. And she does go out there to lure the pimp who's out for a stroll. And she's silent, but he just says, come on. And he takes her to his apartment.
I do want to. You touched on something really, really fascinating and important in this movie, though, which is that dichotomy. The person that she is when she's alone in her in her apartment is someone who clearly is like passionate and full of like emotions and feelings. And then when she's out in the world and she's wearing her veil, she's cold. She doesn't say a single word.
She's literally veiled.
Damn.
Wow.
Oh.
She is. But it's a thing that like saying it makes it sound so like smack you in the face. But it's not something that you are smacked in the face with. You just are like learning about this character and you see both sides of her. But it is that she puts on her war paint. And the later thing that happens is she's in the bath, or when our main guy is with her, she doesn't have the makeup on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just is really... It's great stuff. Sheila Van just really fucking knocks this role so far out of the park.
Really does. Yep.
The guy's apartment...
She goes after the... Yes.
It's what you might expect. There is an aquarium, stuffed trophy animals, a painting of a tiger, a blanket...
Painting of a tiger is the best.
A blanket of a tiger, plus a blanket of a leopard. And I want to clarify and say, not a leopard skin and tiger skin blanket. Just their images on a blanket.
Look like beach towels.
Yeah, it really made me laugh. I was like, this is exactly what this guy... That's what this guy would love.
This guy's a terrible host, too. I mean, he just immediately...
Oh, he offered her a line.
Not until after he does a mountain of it himself.
Right.
Yeah.
He gets home, he immediately turns on the club music. Like, without skipping a beat. And then does a bunch of cocaine, and then lifts weights.
At her.
Yeah.
And then, and this is where I was talking earlier.
Doing it for you, honey.
Genre. This movie is a comedy because there are a lot of scenes in it that are funny, but this scene was hysterical.
Yeah.
He starts lifting weights, and then he starts doing like what he thinks is a sexy dance at her.
What do you mean?
Not the first unsexy dance in this. We'll get to it, but I had some belly laughs at some of the dancing in this movie.
Mm-hmm. It was really funny.
And he does the tried and true method of pawing at her face to seduce her.
It's always that's a surefire way.
It's worked 100% of the time so far.
Jesus. I knew exactly what was coming in this scene, and I couldn't wait for it. I was so excited for everything that happened.
Great Fang reveal.
Oh, yeah.
First off.
Yes, and subtle. Like, and just small, and they don't highlight them hardly ever in the movie.
Yeah, it just felt really like a Universal monster movie in that moment when she, like, lifts her face.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this feels like feels like Frankenstein's Bride. And she pricks his finger and then fillets it for a moment before biting it right the hell off.
Shit.
That is true. No, George, can I just correct you for one moment? It's actually the bride of Frankenstein's monster.
Okay, that is his son.
Yeah,
he
Dr.
calls it his son,
Frankenstein's
which
monster.
means that it would have the family name, and thus he is also Frankenstein. So get off my fucking back, JP.
Oh my god.
So the doctor was his mother.
Yes, exactly.
Can't operate on this Frankenstein.
I get it now.
He's my son.
A Frankenstein and his father were in a car crash.
Two Frankenstein were in a car crash.
Have you or a Frankenstein been injured in a car wreck?
Her lips switch from blood red lipstick to simply blood as she approaches the whimpering pimp. Paws at his mouth with the severed finger. Very funny flip of the power dynamic there before lunging in to rip out his throat. And of course, this is very clearly a symbolic castration. We've already talked about the phallic finger here. And also the dominance subversion by it being put into his mouth before his punishment, especially when you take into account the traditional academic sexual symbolism of a vampire attack being this primitive animal embrace.
That was pretty fucked up. This was a gruesome scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was just,
I loved it so much. When she put the finger on his face, I was just cackling and clapping. I'm rooting for this kid.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for this lady.
It's hard to differentiate. Again, with like the vampire attack, like vampires, they're ubiquitous in pop culture, and like seeing a vampire attack, I think you've seen them all until this movie.
Wow.
Because I feel like they were able to kind of like stand on their own a little bit, and it looked gruesome, it looked cool. Like I said, the 100%. Yeah.
This is they're doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Hey, you think vampires are X, Y, and Z? This is what we're creating a new letter, and we're gonna have Elon Musk name his kid after it.
Vampires are Delta now.
The guy's tattoos I want to mention, since he's dead now, we're probably not going to talk about him anymore. But
the neck tattoo, the neck
tattoo, the front and the back neck tattoo, the broken heart on the back.
That's
of the
great.
neck.
He's got Pac-Man eating some pellets going down the side of his neck.
I did notice the Pac-Man.
And then just the
word. Let's talk about the best tattoo.
Sex on the front of his neck. That looked like it was
right over his throat, right across his Adam's apple. It says sex.
It looks like it was like written with like a Sharpie on there. It's
very appealing.
Very
great.
All over the board.
Reeks, I just want to say that Reeks is out here being like, oh, the fucking tattoo job wasn't great. How much do you think it hurts to get your neck tattooed? I'm sure that dude was jumping like a damn jelly bean.
I wonder if it's a real tattoo. That's what
it is. He had to get it for the movie.
Yeah,
he had to get.
I heard that Anna Lily Amirpour actually gave him that tattoo, and he didn't ask for it.
It was the
GoFundMe didn't afford enough for a makeup person, so they were like, "All right, here's $150. Go get the tattoo."
One of the perks was decide what we tattoo on this guy's fucking throat. And some jokester thought it'd be funny to write sex.
For $7, you can give this guy as many tattoos as you want.
Wow. Why did we put it out to them? Why did we let them decide?
Why didn't we cap how many people could get this perk?
She knows she's like nailing making the movie and just overconfident. And she's like, just thinks she can do tattoos now.
Yeah,
I can give it tattoos.
I could probably kill this as well.
Yeah, no problem.
But that's it. This is why I still like this movie is also a comedy because the dude has the word sex tattooed across his throat, and it is funny.
There's supposed to see
no version of it looking badass or cool. It's funny.
Doesn't he have pimp on his forehead as well?
He has. I thought he had like a Harry Potter lightning bolt, but over on the side of his forehead.
I'm gonna look up this guy real quick. I'll cut this part out. Don't worry. Don't say anything too funny.
Okay.
Baba Booey.
Saeed's face tattoo actually says pimp in Farsi.
Wow.
Nailed it.
I did fucking nail it. And
you knew it all along.
I did know it all along. And now we're going to come back in, and it'll seem like I knew it quickly as well, instead of having to double check.
You want me to set you up for it?
Okay, we should all come back in laughing as if whatever you just ended on was really funny. So, in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
That was great.
Oh, my God, that is great.
And
my sides are split.
And on top of that, the tattoo on the side of his head says pimp in Farsi.
Holy fuck.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. See, it's a comedy, dude.
This was a really great natural edit. I'm glad that we did that.
Natural actors.
Yeah.
By trade.
Yeah.
George, I swear to God, if I listen to this episode and you don't use the come back in laughing cut, I'm going to be so angry at you.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll
see how I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
Talk to George, who's editing. She also steals his watch and jewels, which is ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Love that she robs them.
Yeah, that's funny.
You never really see vampires like rob people. You know?
How do you think they get all that treasure?
I guess, yeah, but you just never see it. It's cool that you see it.
You know how Dracula has treasure.
Dracula's got that hoard of treasure that he sleeps on.
Yeah.
This was another moment where I feel like what they're trying to do is mislead you into thinking that she has bad motives behind what she's doing, and then you later learn, like, no, it wasn't because she was going and spending this money. Like, we'll get to it, but it turns out that scene, and I was like, well, that's sketchy. I mean, I get it. You're desperate, but
yeah, I was also even just like,
don't steal things.
I was just like, well, she's got to feed herself somehow.
Right.
Vamping don't pay these bills.
Gotta eat.
She literally just fed herself. No, she just fed herself. That was all the num-nums she needs for the week.
Wow. Well,
that's her num-nums.
That's her num-nums. While letting herself out, she lets Arash in, who is there to trade the earrings for the car. And when he finds the corpse, he is freaked out, but not so freaked out that he doesn't take his keys and the briefcase full of drugs, money, and a gun. Which, you must admit, for all of this pimp's faults, it was nice of him to leave one starter kit there for him.
Right. This is everything you need.
This was the first quest in your RPG.
Yeah. Very funny that everything's in the
now you pick a class. You open the chest. Is it a sword? Is it a wand?
Nope. It's drugs. gun and money.
Money.
The third class.
You chose pimp.
The voicemail message is, we hear it in the drug dealer's apartment. It's leave a message, hooker, and then a beep, which I thought was very funny.
Reeks has started saying that to us all the time now.
Yeah.
And not in phone messages. Like, he literally is sending to the group chat of just like George will be like, "Are we recording tonight?" And Reeks is like, Check your Zoom link, hooker.
That's his. He does, instead of talk to the hand because the face don't want to hear it, he just says, "Leave a message, hooker."
Leave a message, hooker. But I still show the hand too.
Exactly.
So it's like,
leave a message with the hand.
Too much. Reeks, it's really mean. It's starting to hurt my feelings.
I kind of like it.
I know George likes it. I'm trying to meet in the middle here. It's host prime. I have to make everybody happy.
It's tough to mediate for sure.
It is.
While he broods at home after taking care of his father, the girl sits in a bath. The thrill of the kill is now gone. Both of them are feeling very isolated. And I did want to say, regarding the mild nudity here, that it is interesting to me that even the gaze of this movie exists in a tertiary space as well. Because ordinarily, you'd find the pointed, to-be-looked-at male gaze depiction of women in scenes like these. But on the other hand, and still, playing with that, Amir Kapoor has made it a point that she believes it would be, quote, fun to strip the chador to see what is left after you, quote, peel back the layers. And so this then rejects both Iranian sensorial oppression and Western objectification by treating her femininity as a statement of empowerment. That we've seen that this is her without the superhero cape on. We've also seen the attempted male dominance in the scenes with the pimp. And so her femininity being used as this statement of empowerment, Amir Kapoor's description of the badass disguise that she uses, it's more Batman than Batman could ever hope to be.
Nice.
Right. Wow.
Not to dwell on it too much, but I think one of the things that was really powerful about that scene is nudity for nudity's sake is always bullshit, and the idea of the male versus the female or the no gendered gaze. You're so used to seeing, if you're going to do bathtub nudity in a film, it's done from the male gaze, and it's done in a way where there's like they're trying to create something sexy and something like enticing, and this was a scene of a person in a bath.
Yeah,
right.
A male or female, it didn't matter. Like, this is a person. The nudity doesn't even start. She's under the water. You see just the top of her head. This is a person who had a hard day and is taking a bath, and the nudity becomes not. I get that it's nudity in general, so it's going to be enticing, especially to a Western audience. But at the same time, it's really just presenting like baths are just a thing that human beings take.
Right.
And vampire.
Vampire indeed.
Vampire.
But it really humanizes the character, and it's presented in a way that is almost like a smack in the face to the kind of exploitative nudity that you would see in a lot of vampire films, especially.
Right. And it's probably blurred, like, in terms of, we both all said, like, we perceive this at times as, like, a documentary, and, like, I think this is one of those scenes that kind of, like, blurs those lines between, like, this is a movie or this is a documentary, kind of. It's, it's...
Oh, yeah, like the
not
memoir,
easy to...
like a autobiographical kind of.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yes. Autobiographical,
I love that
documentary.
I love that, Reeks.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that always occurs to me when you have a scene like this, after a scene of violence, is that the trope is the rape shower. And this was just the opposite of the rape shower. She is not crying. She is not under the stream. She is not hurt. She wasn't just violated. It's almost the opposite of it in every possible way.
Right.
Like just a real counterpoint to that tired trope.
100%. Well said.
Arash throws the body in the pit, and he fills the hole in the drug market as his hand starts to get taken care of correctly now, on the road to recovering his masculinity, if you'll continue to follow the metaphor, as he cruises around town in his ride, horns honking on the score.
Blaring.
Unfortunately, his dad is still detoxing and freaking out at home, so he goes to fill the void with sex, but begging for a freebie doesn't hold water for Ati, and across the way, he sees the girl watching him, mirroring his movements until he runs home scared, which, first of all, very funny. But then, in addition to that, also a subversion of how it's usually a man standing there intimidating a woman on the streets at night.
Right.
Yep.
Just the mimicking too is just so it's very unsettling. Which it's
incredibly, and they do it like mime level worthy. Like they do a really good job with the physical acting here and the miming and mimicking. But it's that wonderful moment of just like, oh no, he's the one that's out there alone at night and feeling uncomfortable. I'm rooting for this character.
She continues to stalk the knight, coming across that little boy and freaking his ass out. Are you a good boy? Answer me. And he says yes every time she asks, and she impresses the lesson upon him to stay that way by revealing her fangs and saying, I can take your eyes out of your skull and give them to dogs to eat. Till the end of your life, I'll be watching you. Understand? Be a good boy. Look, like I said, you got to set him on the right path young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little harsh. Comes off a little harsh.
I'm gonna continue to agree with Reeves on this. Yeah,
just being.
It's fine for us not to agree on every single thing.
No, it's cool. I mean,
that kid was a punk.
I give this movie 3 pineapples.
Even having that perspective, like I don't think it takes away from the movie. I think even like thinking that in my head, like the movie needed something like that.
She can make mistakes.
Yeah,
she could be overcompensating.
It humanizes her. It humanizes her as a Dracula.
Even while she's vampiring, she is human.
Exactly.
Well, and again, I think that this gives us the basis of showing that she does have a hero's journey.
Right.
Like even if you want to say that she did nothing wrong and all children should be smacked and screamed at.
That's
George,
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I think that it is deliberately like showing that there are flaws, that this is a person who is hurt and therefore hurts people, or as my family likes to say, hurt people.
It's more of a chant, like let's do it kind of.
Yeah.
In his terrified flight, he leaves his skateboard, which the girl takes, and you get this amazing scene of her rolling down the empty street on it, veil flapping in the wind like wings. As I said, Amir Pur was the stand-in as the lifelong skater, and boy, boy.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, it just fucking looks amazing. It just fucking looks so good.
It's a great shot. It's a great shot.
Dude, I love the fucking shadow work, dude.
Dude, bro.
Okay, dude, can I be real, though? For real? When she starts following the sex worker... and like they do like the broad, like the real like wide shot, and like they just like come across from the left all the way to the right.
Yes, dude.
It's like one of the best shots in the film, dude, bro.
Dude,
bro, so the miming reminded me of some of those old French films we fucking love. You remember that, bro?
Yes, dude.
Those fucking mimes.
Absolutely.
You like the Pink Panther?
Marcel Marceau is getting in here, baby.
Name one other mime. Name a single other mime.
I don't have to prove myself to you.
Mime drop.
I feel like I did know someone else like talked about on a podcast how they took took a mime class one time.
That counts.
It counts. So I'll say someone I once heard on a podcast talking about taking a single mime course.
I bet it was Glenn Howerton. He went to Juilliard.
Okay. Nice. It was Gillian Jacobs.
Yes. Oh fuck! I knew that. Fuck! You're absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Britta. Yes.
Britta. You really Britta'd that, JP.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I am streets ahead.
Streets ahead. That's right.
Talking about my favorite show. I love you guys.
Wildfire.
It's good. It's real good. The flickering of the TV casts an amazing light on the scene as Arash, back at home, is being yelled at by his dad about how Daddy needs his medicine. And he ignores it to make a Dracula costume for the party now that he's a big drug dealer and he's invited too.
Yeah. The drug, he's guest vader, being drug dealer and a costume party. Yeah.
Come on.
He looks great.
He looks great in this Dracula costume.
Oh, he does. And again, that's why I compared him to Taika Waititi, because Taika Waititi also looks great as a Dracula.
Sure. The drugs are on him as well, which we said, it is impressive to them, which is clearly the goal. and she does convince him to take some with him or with them. The pill is nothing without you. It needs you. And again, this idea of him wanting any sort of connection, needing to feel that someone is nothing without him, even if it's a pill, pulls him in.
And this leads to my second favorite scene in the entire film.
The tripping scene? That's fun.
The tripping scene is great.
Well, the tripping scene and then cutting to reality.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, so let's talk about this tripping scene real quick. Because it is, first of all, some really cool camera work. And it is also funny when one person is just like in a Reagan mask.
Yes, that's true. I wrote down Reagan mask is one of my notes.
But to JP's earlier point about how this woman represents sort of that corruption and the people who are not having to worry about these socioeconomic issues that threaten the rest of our crew here. The idea of them being in league with Reagan here, that he's actually there, and that they it doesn't actually matter when you're rich enough what the politics are. It does work.
Economics.
Exactly, it does work. I think, even though you're just like, haha, Reagan mask.
Yeah.
He also doesn't seem to be doing great though, and when he tries to smooch her, she refuses. And somebody comes by and pops some fake fangs in his mouth, which again really emphasizes how performative all of this is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's having these fantasies. The ecstasy mind is seeing beautiful people, and like colors are swirling, and everyone's swaying in time to the beat of the music, and it's so gorgeous. And he just sees the rich girl, and he is so attracted to her, and she's so attracted to him, and they're like waving hands at each other. And then the scene cuts to what's really happening, and she is like slouched over and kind of swaying back and forth, and she has her fingers rubbing up against the sides of her face very clumsily. And you realize like that what he was seeing in ecstasy and what was happening in real life is so divergent, and which also plays into what comes a little bit later. I laughed out loud. It happens like 2 or 3 times. If you didn't notice it, you got to go back. It is so funny.
Yeah.
The way that they're dancing when they show what's really happening is exactly what happens when people are on drugs and are dancing. Like, no, you don't look glorious. There's no like spotlight on you. You look silly. You're kind of like waving your arms and rubbing your face, and you are loving that moment, and that's the important thing, but you don't look good.
Well, it also, I mean, the fact that, they are loving it does emphasize that tension that we were talking about between reality and the appearance of things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think it's a bold choice to make a tripping scene in black and white. And it's something I've never seen before, because usually those types of scenes are really enhanced by color. Yeah. And, but it really worked. Like, I didn't think it was going to when I first saw it, but I'm like, this fucking owns. And it's another thing that was enhanced by the black and white. It didn't detract from it.
I swear to God, Reeves, until you said that, in my memory of the trippy scenes,
it was color.
I was seeing them in color, even though it was not in color for sure.
Whoa.
That's insane. They did an amazing job with that. Bro.
You're right. In my memory bank too, it's like I think I'm thinking of it in color, which is it's crazy.
I see Ronald Reagan's gray, disgusting skin.
His withering face.
Oh wait, that might have just been the black and white that he was so gray and disgusting, like reality. So
the lines were blurred there.
Yeah, that's it, Reegs. That's exactly it. The lines are blurred.
Robin thinks
God. Hey.
Hey, indeed.
No?
Both through the whole song.
Go through. Yeah, all right, go ahead, finish. Speak on that. Wow. I can't believe that JP
sounds just like him.
JP is interrupting our talk of this great feminist work with rape anthem blurred lines.
Yeah, whoever brought up Robin Thicke should feel ashamed.
I brought up Robin earlier. That was not the Robin I was intending, but
sure wasn't me.
George.
Somebody comes by, they pop the teeth in, and he blacks out along with the camera. And when we both fade in, he's walking the streets drunk, and probably still pretty high. And he gets distracted by a streetlight staring at it as the girl rolls by on the skateboard.
He's in the suburbs, or like the suburbs part of Bad City. He's very much displaced and not where he should be. And I thought that was like, they establish it very subtly, but like, yes, this is not where he's supposed to be. This is not where he belongs. He's the poor drug dealer.
JP, I'm so glad that you mentioned this because...
Oh, you're welcome.
Perfect segue, because she screeches to the halt. He says that he's lost, and she says, "Oh, it's Bad City," and he says, "That's good. I live here," but it doesn't look like Bad City, does it? It's not familiar. Doesn't feel like home. You could say. You could say.
And this was another scene where
you could say.
I would say and will say.
It doesn't feel like home.
It doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like home.
Nailed it.
It doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel like
home. There is a place like home.
You had it in you all along, Dorothy.
I'm the Tin Man.
That looks like a military base or California, and then I realized actually California communities look a lot like military bases. So.
Oh, sure. And I mean, it has that kind of like Arizona tract kind of.
Yes. But it was like the juxtaposition between that and the industrial, crumbling Dickensian like village that they live in.
Yeah.
Versus this wonderful little identical cookie cutter neighborhood. It just. Again, God.
The tension between. Yes. God damn. He approaches her and says, "I'm Dracula. But don't worry, I won't hurt you."
Yep.
Very kind of him to make sure that she knows.
Yes.
And no, I mean, and again, this gets to the, he doesn't know it. He's just a person that is just like, oh God, you met a strange man at night. I promise I'm not going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. Versus like, she actually, that was comforting to her because she isn't trusting of men.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
It's also interesting because he is like at his most stripped bare.
Right.
Kind of, by the drugs.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
The drugs and the emotional rejection that he got.
Yeah. He's his most raw form of himself. Yeah.
Yes.
So
and
the fact
it's Dracula.
Right. And it's Dracula. But Dracula can be kind too.
No. I was going to try and get some kind of thing going.
You got it.
Dracanula.
Oh, fuck.
No, yes. I don't like it.
Keep going. You got it.
I'm moving on. He notices.
Look, I don't care which Dracula.
He notices the coldness of her hand, and Arash wraps his cloak around her for a nice hug. And it's so interesting because, again, this sort of tension is at play because it's an extremely intimate act, but yes. with the innocence of drunk, high. Mm-hmm. It's obviously he doesn't intend anything by it.
And that's what it is that he's able to express that he is like his what could be aggressive actions, which could like predatory actions aren't, and that there's something there of like seeing the difference. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This gets into the thing though where he's high. So like, is this just a function of him being high? We get the answer later, but like they create a really interesting question here because these two show, honestly, through very little dialogue and mostly through actions, like an immediate trust for one another.
Right.
But you also, it's also speaking to the thing where like, what if you're out drinking and you meet somebody and you hit it off, but is that gonna taint it because you were both out drinking and therefore like, it's not the same scenario, but I think it mirrors that idea of just like, yes.
So he wants to sit, but that's a bad spot. So she invites him over. I can't. I have to sit, he says. Who hasn't been there?
I love how she wheels him over on the skateboard.
Oh, it's so cute. It's adorable. It's so cute.
It's so cute.
And again, is where we start having a romance and rom-com. Like they're really cute together.
And again, there is a childishness to it all.
Yes.
When they get there, she puts on "Death" by White Lies. First off, another absolute banger. Holy shit.
Yes. And let me just add, it should have been Cry Little Children.
The only possible improvement to this movie.
Yes. Another note for the director. I've been keeping track of them.
More skateboarding, Cry Little Children.
Cake flips. Yeah.
Cake flips. But also, this is the scene that JP was referencing earlier. And
I'm going to watch it again after we record. Just this scene. It's so amazing.
It is
Go ahead, George.
One of the best uses of diegetic music I've ever seen. It revives him in a way that is incredible. It revives him. And the scene is slow. It's intimate. It's incredible. I truly, truly love this scene. I think that it is incredible. And it's so great how the song reflects that emotion of the scene without them having to talk.
It's insane.
Yes, you get the fear of change. You get the fear of being vulnerable, which both of them are. He is literally vulnerable. She is emotionally vulnerable. Seen, like we said, in the way that she's no longer wearing the veil. This is her true self laid bare. And she's conflicted about what to do. There's a moment where you see her lift up his head and his neck is so exposed and he does nothing. He has no defensive reaction to it. And instead of biting his neck, she lays her head on his chest and she listens to his heart and she enjoys the humanity that she no longer has. If she's a vampire, she doesn't have that beating heart.
And if she's not a vampire, she doesn't have that ability to love.
Exactly.
Just resisting the temptation too.
Exactly.
Yeah, of the exposed neck, which is
to push him away, resisting the temptation to push him away, to do damage, to say I've been hurt before, so let me hurt you.
And to do the same things that she's always done, which kind of reflects to the what's her name, Addie, who just does the same thing mindless day in and day out, and she's choosing to do something 100%. Different.
I don't want to harp too much on it. I don't want to harp too much on it because I want everyone to watch this movie. It's like my life's goal now is to get everyone to watch this movie. But the reason I talked about this scene with such, it sounds like overwrought, over the top. I was moved by this scene. Yeah. And part of it is you need to understand, for those who haven't seen it, the entire scene is silent, and
it's no
they move. There's very little. I'm sorry. There's no dialogue. There's music. Silent. You're right. There's music, and the music is. This was not a function of them picking the perfect song to go with this scene.
Right.
The flow of the song, with the intensity of the song, with the crescendos they're building in the song simultaneously, and they slow down the footage to match it perfectly. But the actions that are happening on the screen while you listen to probably 3.5 minutes of a song. I mean, it is a long scene, but it's all just their physicality with each other and everything that we're talking about here with she doesn't say a goddamn word, but you know exactly what it is. You can see the ecstasy he is in just by being touched by her. And you can see the turmoil she is in. And it's all also wrapped up in, and this is another genre, and I'm going to call it a separate genre that this movie is in, which is it's turning the fucking manic pixie dream girl on its head. Right. And it's mocking it while at the same time trying to embrace the only part of the manic pixie dream girl thing that was good, which is the idea of falling in love with somebody.
That the idea of that connection, that this seeing how it revives him. And we've seen that the music is the thing that gets to her as well. And so feeling this kindred spirit and them both reacting to the song in this powerful way, because for a long time, her back is to him. She's just looking at the record player, truly absorbing the music.
Not just absorbing the music, but she's going through, the emotional journey that she's going through, and the fact that she doesn't want to turn around. She doesn't want to embrace him. If I'm going to turn around, I'm going to feed on him. See that turmoil without any words. It's honestly, it is it is the best depiction of the idea of if people, you could watch people fall in love the moment that they fall in love. This is that scene. It's so powerful, and I cannot stress enough that if you have not watched this movie, just watch this one scene, and if you don't want to watch the rest of the movie, I am sorry, you have no heart. It is beautiful. It is such a gorgeous scene. It is scored perfectly. It is shot perfectly. It is acted perfectly through no dialogue. I was so impressed. There was that moment where I'm like, this should have been nominated for fucking like Oscars. Like, this movie is so impressive.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like rawness, and like you see in a scene, like you only see in like this kind of budget movie, I feel like, or like these like indie movies, like that is just it was super powerful. It's the only there's not many other words to describe it. It was just it was. I'd never heard that song before, but it was.
Oh, it's so good though, right?
Perfect, yeah. It fit perfectly, and the way they shot it, like to your point, like they slowed it down for it. Is beautiful, beautiful. Best scene in the movie.
It's incredible. Yeah. It really is. And this expression of outsider joy is reflected in a trans woman dancing euphorically with a balloon.
Love it.
And as I understand it,
love that.
Iran has its own incredibly complicated history with trans people and gay people who had sex changes basically forced upon them because of the criminalization of homosexuality, but the sponsorship of sex changes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I won't pretend to be incredibly well-versed in it, and I'm sure that people more qualified than me have discussed it. So I'll simply say...
For everyone look it up. I read about it. That's fascinating and horrible.
I'll simply say it's a powerful scene, even without understanding the baggage behind it. I think that you see that this is outsider joy, it's relatable to them, and it totally works as this simple scene, especially because... there is a melancholy to it as well. And I think that you can see that in how punished and beat down both the girl and Arash feel, and the history of state-sponsored violence against marginalized peoples is indicative of that as well. It's just really a great 1-2 punch.
Absolutely, it's a fun scene. You know, if you were to like just take it, you're just looking at it for what it is too. It's just like someone dancing with a balloon. That's cool.
Fuck yeah.
Fun. I got a
dude,
toy balloon.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love when we dance with balloons, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. A single balloon.
We're talking about this movie a day after I saw it, and I'm having an emotional reaction knowing that history and why that scene was even more important. Like this. God damn, this movie.
That's something that blew right past me, too. Like, that I want to educate myself more on. Because that's very interesting, the whole backstory there. I was taking it for what it was and not appreciating all the lore that goes into that.
And it was a dang delight, just what it was.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That night, Ati keys Arash's car thinking it's the pimps, which is very funny. And she's being followed by the girl, and she's scared, so she confronts her. But the girl just wants to give her the jewels. They're jewels, Betty. They're jewels.
The balloons.
They're not just jewels. They're not just jewels.
I got you a bag of jewels.
It's the watch and the necklace that she stole from the pimp.
I know. I was doing a reference, JP.
I don't know that reference.
I was talking about Freddy Got Fingered.
I totally got it.
God, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing. It is genuinely a work of art. I fucking love it.
Should be in a museum.
It should be in a museum. The backwards man, he's the backwards man. He can walk backwards
as fast as you can, yeah.
God damn it.
I feel like Reeves now.
It's so
I know, doesn't it suck?
It sucks, man.
Hold on, I'm gonna keep going too. Because when he's like, oh, should I get a little jobby? Him going on that rant is like the most
he should have won an Oscar.
It's the most real reaction to someone like talking to a creative person and being like, so when are you gonna get a real job? And just this so patronizing question, and him being like, "Oh, I didn't think about getting a real job."
It's great.
All right, George, because I do this whenever you give me one of these, I'm adding Freddy Got Fingered to my list.
Yeah, you should.
But I actually watched the movies, so it's
the list.
Good. I'm glad. I want you to watch this movie because it's great. And it's also important context to know that they basically gave him a check and were like, go make whatever movie you want. And so it's actually very punk rock of him to have burned this check in the most uncommercial blimp explosion of all time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's great.
You gotta love that.
I do love it.
Good middle finger.
It's pretty fantastic. Now, the girl, not to jump right back in from Freddy Got Fingered to The Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Yeah. Basically the same movie.
It would have been impossible not to talk about it. Yeah.
She says she's not religious, which emphasizes the disguised nature of the veil. Mm-hmm. And she also says she doesn't want to learn from Ati. She just wants to help her get out of the game. You don't remember wanting. It passed so long ago. And Ati says idiots and rich people are the only ones who think things can change. And the girl denies being a thief, but doesn't have an answer for, then what are you? Gotta get that self-actualization, baby.
Baby, yeah, you gotta know who you are, baby.
No, you don't.
I love... JP kind of talked about this a little bit, where she's like on the wall skateboarding, but she's like pensively skateboarding home. It's just such a funny idea to me, just like sadly skateboarding.
It's like Charlie Brown on a skateboard, yeah.
That's right. And I also, to JP's point earlier about the humanization of this character and how she makes mistakes and everything, even if I did not agree that she shouldn't have done that to the little boy child, I do think that she makes a mistake here, and she lashes out at this inner turmoil that she is feeling and feeds on an unhoused gentleman who is similarly marginalized, chilling in the alleyway, has nothing going on. She lashes out. He's a man, and so he has it coming as well.
And again, I think that it speaks to the longer they're here in this place that's not for them, the more it corrupts them.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and it's just like it's also kind of just she needs to eat. She's got to eat.
Sure.
And like that.
I mean, that guy looked tasty.
Yeah, is a means to justify an end, which is kind of how a lot of society does operate a lot of the time.
Sure.
You know what people say, Reeds, is at the ends. They justify the means.
They justify the means are justified.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it. I was at a hipster coffee shop earlier.
Oh my god, this has really rocked my worldview.
I mean, they didn't say anything. I was just trying to brag.
Do you think a barbecue place ever puts on like a wacky sign?
The burnt ends.
The burns ends justify the meats.
I think that they probably
be
do.
Something.
I think that they do.
You think they do?
Can that be our first shirt, guys? Can that be our first shirt?
That should be a shirt.
The burnt ends justify the means.
I have bad news about the qualifier of first on that, JP.
Oh, okay. I meant Pluto shirt.
Oh.
Pluto shirt.
You want the Pluto shirt to be from an unrelated podcast?
This is absolutely related. We're in Plutember.
A reference to a non-existent barbecue place.
I guess it is related, but I don't know. All right. You're right. We'll come up with. We heard about Pluto barbecue joint. We heard about Plute BQ.
We heard about Plute BQ. That's good.
Look, if any of our many, many whappers are not listening to our episodes of this podcast, just stop listening in general. Get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I won't say that because I'm the nice one.
Wow. Role reversal.
Wow. George, 2 out of 10 pineapples.
Wow.
I guess I'm the bad boy of this podcast.
Wow. I guess so.
Wait, who's the bad boy in the other one?
George. Well established.
He's the negative one.
Well
He's
established.
The negative one.
And that makes me the bad boy.
You can't just say I'm the bad boy and then make that happen.
Reeg said it.
I said I guess I am. Someone has to fill the role.
No, Reeg said it about George. And he's right.
Yeah.
I'm just agreeing with him.
Wait, JP's asking why George is talking in the third person.
That's part of what makes him the bad boy.
Yeah.
Bad boys talking the third person.
Hey.
All right, I get it. That's what bad boys do.
I'm hitting jukeboxes, remember?
Oh.
Hey!
Fist is bleeding now really bad.
I think we made that same exact joke the last time.
Did we?
I think so. I do genuinely think that happened before.
It sounds like something I would say.
I guess you could say it's a bit of a broken record.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Now, that would be crazy if we said that, too.
That would be crazy. I'm glad we didn't. It would be too scary.
This whole thing is scripted. All right.
So she pencilly skateboards home. She comes home to find a note from Dracula asking for a meeting on her door. And after dreaming of him, she does go. He got her a hamburger, which is nice. She holds it strangely, though, and he says, I never met someone who didn't like hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
She picks out a little.
Well, just to be polite.
I mean, I literally thought about that line, and I was like, yeah, other than vegetarians and vegans? Yeah. And even they like hamburgers.
A hamburger, though?
Give a vampire a hamburger.
All right, I'm just going to say it. Hamburger better than cheeseburger.
That's so fucking wrong, dude.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
That is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah. Little bacon burger from Five Guys. You get the onions, the mushrooms, and A1. Baby, you got a burger going.
This is hate speech, and I'm shutting it down.
Cheese would also enhance that, though.
Yeah,
too.
I agree. You know? I agree.
Yeah.
Nah, cheese overrated.
What do you think of vampire? I'm gonna specifically not edit that out so that everyone just hears you say cheese is overrated, which is the most insane take of all time.
That's a nuclear take. It's a nuclear.
My brand.
It's truly bonkers.
It's. I was gonna say I think a vampire would like a hamburger. There's blood involved. It is meat. You know.
It was well done. There was no blood.
It's really good. And you wanted to blow past that?
Fatty.
He says, I don't know your name. And she says, you don't know me. Deep. But he asks her what the last song she listened to was, which we already know. That's their connection point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this gets her to warm up.
Baha Men.
And she says, Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baha Men.
Baha Men, yeah. And then they play the song. And it's like, well, that was a little out of place.
Well, I really liked it because...
And that was my favorite scene of the movie.
When she says, Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baha Men. And he goes, sad songs just hit the spot, don't they? You go, yeah. They really do, Arash.
Yeah. I never thought of it as a sad song.
Jokes about the Baha Men aside, I hated.
Hold on, I'm not done joking about the Baha Men
because I saw myself in this scene of like, yes, okay, I do actually feel like sometimes sad songs really do hit the spot.
Yeah, they do. Before I go back to joking about the Baha Men, which I do still have one more, I should say that the song is "Hello, Hello" by Lionel Richie.
Yes.
It's a beautiful song.
That is a sad song.
And my Baha Men thing was going to be that Reeves didn't know it was a sad song, but it's about losing your dogs. What else could it be?
Well, I think it's sung in such a happy tone, though. I think that's kind of like the songs do that. They fool you. You know what I mean?
I do know that. I'm familiar.
But the message is bad.
Sure.
You know,
and
I can't
like
decipher.
A distortion. It's like a distortion.
So
is he
true.
Singing about, is he singing about a woman or is he singing about his dog?
Another great tension of the reality and performative nature.
It's really like this movie is kind of like the Baha Men of movies, if you want to think about it.
I'm so glad you came to that on your own because I was saving that for the end.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sorry for stepping on it.
Well, that's okay because now we're setting it up ahead of time.
Yes.
He gives her the earrings that he was going to trade to the drug dealer, but her ears aren't pierced, which is very funny to me. That she's just like, sorry, guy. But the gift is so touching to her that she asks him to do it right there with the pin. Another very intimate moment as the flame ignites on his lighter to sterilize it, and he goes in for it. Like
metal as fuck too.
That close up on the lighter as it ignites really just struck me.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's such a well shot scene. It's beautiful. There's also look, it's not meant to be so ham-fisted, but he's literally like inserting something into her flesh. He's literally piercing her. Like it's
full penetration.
It's not a subtle penetration. It's not a subtle metaphor. But at the same time, it's also like this is painful for her. This is awkward and not something he wants to do without consent. Like it's building that metaphor.
Right. She says, also, do the other one as well.
Right.
It's metal as fuck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, her fangs pop out at the pain, but she says, keep going, do the other one as well. What lucky earrings, he says, and goes in for a smooch. And I gotta say, pretty good line.
Yeah, solid.
Pretty good.
Guys,
pretty good.
I'm sorry.
Pretty good.
You can cut this out. I just got a text from Claire that said, I don't even know the context, but I'd buy that shirt.
There you go.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Pretty good.
We got one buyer. Let's go. We got to make the shirt now.
Now we're on the hook for it.
The burnt ends justify
the meats. Yeah.
The burnt ends justify the meats.
My favorite part of it is how easily and smoothly we all manage to say it. That's the key to a good merch.
Flows.
Yeah. After he goes in for this smooch, she says, "You don't know the bad things I've done." And she stops him out of self-loathing. And he says, "You don't know what I've done." But she stalks off.
It's a good moment.
Yeah, it is a great moment.
Yeah.
Dad is freaking out at the cat the next morning and at the memory of his wife, haunting him via photos, which he smashes. And he says the mom is in the cat. It's her eyes. Mm-hmm. And this is the last straw for Arash, who gives Pops enough drugs to OD on and some money, and then kicks him out of the house for good. And take the cat with you, he says. I'm like, let's not be hasty, Arash.
Right.
It's a good
seems
cat.
A little harsh. Like he seems, this seems like it's kind of like a lot of pent up anger that's like misplaced anger that's exploded.
I think it was the first and only time I turned against Arash.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. It's like,
dude, no.
You stole this cat and now you're kicking him out?
Yeah. Your dad.
Come on. That cat's your mom, dude.
he once sold a card of any Chase, and this is how you're going to treat him?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Dad shoots up and he goes to Ati's home for sex, putting on a record first, and he says, "I want you to dance for me," in a reversal of the scene with the pimp attempting a seductive dance earlier. And you can see that he is looking for control over something, since his addiction has control over him, so he tries to inject her as well with force when she resists. I say tries, he does it.
He does it, yeah. That's a tough one. This is it's
tough scene.
Tough scene. And he gets his comeuppance very quickly, but it's not easy to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I said my piece earlier, but it was a very upsetting scene.
Yeah. And he spoons her in the bed while they trip. Lots of great eye close-ups. And suddenly the girl stops in her tracks. She can feel this happening. Classically, Draculas have a lot of ties to animals as well. So the close-ups on the cat eyes feel like it could be an implied connection there as well.
Yep.
Definitely.
And I love that they left that open-ended, but it does heavily imply like that she's seeing this through the cat's eyes.
And while they're still in the drug haze, we see the girl tear him off the bed and then feed on him, which is an amazing scene, this sort of still tripping hunger and feeding there. They dispose of the body, with the girl taking the cat at Ati's request.
Back in the corpse gulch.
Well, he just gets tossed to the side there. He doesn't even make it to the ditch.
Yeah, he's on the street.
I forgot they just put him as if he just overdosed. I forgot.
And Arash discovers what became of his father, and he is racked with guilt at having sent him out into the cold world. He sits outside her door while she dreams of him, and he enters without being invited after she opens the door, which is a distinctly human move.
Oh, I didn't even catch that shit. That's good. Nice.
He starts to pack up for her, saying, "Let's leave this place together. Don't leave me. Don't leave me alone." And at first, it seems like she's not interested, but then she changes her top and she fixes her hair and she highlights the earrings that he gave her, a sign of her picking him. Wow.
Yes. Wow.
The problem is that he finds that she has the cat. And he realizes that she has killed his father.
This was another one that I love the ambiguity here with just his facial expression. Just him. He really sold it too. Just the actor just crushed it. You kind of don't know. You think that he knows that she killed him, but you don't really know for sure. But it's great.
100%. And they build that into the subsequent scenes as well, where you still don't know. Does he know, and is he angry if he does know, and you don't know? And they build tension there, again, through no dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah, and that no dialogue continues, because although he is shocked and upset, he chooses her as well, and he doesn't say anything as they drive out of the city with her in her superhero outfit. He lets the music do the talking as they listen to the radio. And the ending is kind of like The Graduate by way of Lost Highway. You know, I really fucking love it. And it's so funny to me also for them to like just be staring that like, I mean, they're on the verge of starting their new life. It's scary and exciting all at the same time. And then you have the cat just dead center of the frame, like looking around being a cat.
Yeah, it's great. Just like sitting there too in the middle.
We'll wait until the end. The cat. Yes.
The cat is great. I will say, driving with a loose cat is the most stressful thing in the world.
It's awful. I had the same. I'm like, no, the cat's going to get down by the pedals. Yes. It's going to be terrible.
Yes. One time I was driving home with Stevie in the car, and Stevie does not like the car. She was howling up a storm in the cat box, and I thought, if I let her out, maybe she'll relax a little bit.
Oh, George, I've been down this road, you poor man.
That was not the case.
Of course she did not.
No. Oh, God.
I had another 90 minutes to go.
Oh, rough. It's rough.
A fucking nightmare.
That sounds like a nightmare. Cat nightmare.
And I said, if I pull over to, like, try and shove her back in this box, that will only end in injury for myself.
Yeah.
Injury for yourself, and then double the whining from the box.
Yes, exactly. And so instead, we just both had a miserable time on the way up.
Real lose-lose situation.
Yeah, neither one of us was happy about that.
I definitely only did it one time in my life. It was a time when I drove a manual transmission car. Here, decided after she was like sitting up on like right behind my head, like, oh yeah, this is fun. We're buddies. You're watching the road, and then she was like, okay, I'm getting down here now. That seems safer. Mm-hmm. And that was just under the pedals.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah, not good. No. It's not good. And the movie, it ends. She rejects this trap of being between the Western and Iranian tensions represented by Bad Town. She speeds off with her chosen family and the one that she's finding a true community with, a kindred spirit, as opposed to someone merely thrown into a community by nationality and identity in that fashion. And it just fucking works, man. It's just such a powerful ending. I love it so much. And this takes us into the part of the show, boys, where we sum up why it's not just a good horror movie, but is in fact the best horror movie ever made. And I'm going to let me start.
Wow.
Okay, but then you get to change your opinion.
Yeah.
We'll bring a little Pluto into it. Let me just say, I don't suspect that I'm going to change my opinion.
Should we rank it out of 10?
10 pineapples.
Reasons that are really persuasive. Yeah, so, just hold on.
All right. To me, this is the best horror movie ever made because the tension between reality and fantasy permeates every corner. From the dad saying we could have so much fun if we could drive around in a convertible, which Arash has, to the Dracula costume as he meets her, to the very existence of a vampire in this world. It is baked into every part of this movie. And it's done with such a deft hand that it never feels overbearing. It's also a tight hour 40. This movie moves so quick for me, despite the lack of dialogue. And especially at the end there, it would have been so easy to slap a monologue on, and they trust the actors. They let the music and the performances speak for them. It's so impactful, such a great dismount, and my initial reaction to this movie, which I am pulling a little bit from my Letterboxd review here, where I said, this movie, the phrase I used was slicker than the highway after a storm. It is slow and contemplative. It's black and white, but it has a warmth that I think is belied by that aesthetic, where you wouldn't necessarily expect it to feel that passion and that fire, but you do. There's a lot of very cool scenes, including a skateboarding vampire. And the scene in her bedroom where they're listening to death is truly one of the best movie scenes I have ever seen. I love this movie. I think the performances are so great. And for it to be so emotionally resonant and emotionally honest and feel emotionally vulnerable, like we talked about the difficulty that the girl has with being vulnerable and how that feels. There are parts of this that feel autobiographical. This can't have been an easy movie to make. And I just think that everybody involved did such a great job. Sheila Vand, incredible. Arash Morandi, incredible. Anna Lily Amirpour, incredible. Everybody just kills it, and that's why it's the best horror movie ever made.
Wow.
Let's I'm gonna pick JP. I'm gonna pick JP first. I'll let Riggs close us off, and then I'll say if I change my opinion.
The first thing I have to say about this movie is, are you ready for a pee corner? Oh, we got a pee corner, guys.
Oh my God.
Saving it for the end.
Pee break at the end.
A little pee corner for you. Let me tell you about the cat in this movie. One of the highlights of this movie is cat actor Masuka.
Wow.
Playing the cat who belongs to Arash, a young man struggling to deal with his drug-addicted father's debts. According to IMDb, Masuka was not even originally a character in the film, but director Anna Lily Amirpour was so impressed with his acting, she wrote him into the movie.
And she was right to do it.
Wow.
Online fans have dubbed Masuka the Marlon Brando of cat actors.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's incredible.
And they're right. He's incredible. In that last scene.
Oh, my God. That last scene, I had to stop watching because it was both emotionally devastating and wonderful and empowering, and also the cat was so funny all the time. The cat stayed in the shot the entire time, looked at the people talking, ducked down under the mirror to look at the camera. The cat was so fucking good.
Yeah, I loved it. All right, talk about why it's the best.
I'm trying not to get choked up. Movies are really important to me, and I always want to see something that makes me feel connected to humanity. I love a good storytelling, but it's art when you can tell a story in a way that resonates with real people, that feels honest, that, yes, it's a movie about a skateboarding vampire. It's also just a movie about, two broken people struggling and trying to find something that's making it worth them living another day. It's a devastating premise. And then on top of that, it's so gorgeous. And the soundtrack is so good. And you just are watching something that it's perfect. They perfectly executed this thing. It doesn't mean that it's the only perfect movie, but it is perfectly done. This movie makes me angry because I will never in my life be able to get the people that I love and want to share this with to fully appreciate or even watch this. It's a hard sell movie. It's a black and white Iranian vampire movie. That's not a selling point to my MAGA parents. It's really it's so hard because I want everyone to see this. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I think that you should stop doing this podcast now, George.
We found it.
Because this is literally the best horror movie that's ever been made.
We did it.
I don't see anyone topping this.
All right, Reegs.
Incredible.
2 out of 10 pineapples.
10 out of 10. Wow. And to not belabor the point, it's incredible. I had no idea what to expect coming into this, and just from I feel like you can appreciate it on multiple levels too. You can peel back the layers and look at all the themes that are layered throughout. George, you hit that nail on the head where it is in every single facet of the movie. But just on a surface level too, it just looks beautiful. Just the black and white of it all. I know I said it before, but the lighting, I love just looking at this movie and the way she skateboards through too, and how that's just kind of juxtaposed with her being a vampire. It's fucking awesome. So much of it is cool. There is, and I really like too the way they do the vampire. I'm a sucker for lore, and I need it either all or nothing type of deal. I need to either be beat over the head with the lore, this is why this is. And I like how they deliberately did not do that. It is a tight hour 40, and they just don't even acknowledge any, why is she the vampire? Why is she here? They don't even acknowledge any of that. And I love that. It just makes it for
not important.
It's not important. What is important is the emotional connection that these characters have a lot of the time, and her presence in this town, and how that kind of flips the standard on its head. But it's a beautifully shot movie. I love what they did with really every aspect of it. I want to watch it again. I want to, and there's not too many movies where I live where I'm I want to see this again. I want to be able to, just talking to you guys now, I'm oh, I kind of missed that little part. I want to go and see that again. And the way they're able to,
I'm going to buy it. Yeah. I think this is going to be on my Fury Road short list of movies that I rewatch all the time.
Totally. It's one of the few that I'm I regret I rented it. And I'm like, I should have fucking bought it. So like, yeah, it's the greatest horror movie ever made. And I will say too, George, you read your Letterboxd review. I'll read mine. Little Red Riding Hood. This is more like Little Dead Skating Hood.
So true. I'm always saying that.
Yeah. Is that good?
It's perfect. And now that it has come back around to me, I will say that you did not change my mind. This is still the best horror movie ever made. 10 out of 10 pineapples remains my score.
Same.
It's the best horror movie ever made. I will also say, just for fun, that my other pick for today that I contemplated pretty strongly, in fact, even mentioned it to the boys and got a positive response, was Donnie Darko, which would have been a very different conversation.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah. I do fucking love that movie, and I hate stupid people who don't get the ending.
Yeah. It's a really great movie, but I have faith that somebody will pick that movie still.
Oh, someone's got to.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
If nobody's picked it by this time next year.
There we go. There we go. That'll be
2023.
Sorted. Yeah, but I'm really glad that we picked this one because I do hope that more people check it out. I hope that this is an encouragement for people to watch this movie because it really deserves more eyes on it. It's incredible.
It does.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm gonna preach the gospel of this movie. George, before you even are at Boys, please let me thank you for having us here. This is it's you do such an amazing podcast here. You have so much work you put into these things, and you have so much passion for it, and it's really awesome to be here doing this with you. So thank you.
I love doing it with you, pal.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, this has been a true delight.
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to Plutember every year.
It's the best time of year.
I love chopping it up with the boys. It's nice to get to talk about a movie that, look, I mean, as many people have picked movies that I am passionate about. Many people have introduced me to great movies. But getting to just pick it and be like, here's a movie that I love and I'm putting my stamp on it and saying that this is something that I feel strongly enough about to put in front of everyone. This movie means a lot to me, and so I'm really glad that you guys liked it as well. So,
thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah, this was awesome. All right, plug time. I'll let you guys go first. Anything you guys want to plug? Reeg, start it off with you.
I'll go quick because my episode was just last week, so I did all my major plugs there. You should listen to that Malignant episode if you haven't yet. But really, just follow me, Twitter and Twitch, Reegs815.
There you go. JP?
I really want to plug, we heard about Pluto. It's a wonderful psych rewatch podcast. The three of us are the hosts. We can argue about the hierarchy there. Really, just it's a nice break from the cynicism and the kind of anti-hero bullshit that we are exposed to all the time. It's three nice boys talking nicely about a nice show. That's right. It's really something that if you want to hear more of us just gushing over things, you should definitely listen to We Heard About Pluto. And the only other thing I want to promote right now is just be out there taking care of people. Be out there doing what you can. Donate to the causes that are right. We're in a scary, scary age right now. So I honestly just want everybody out there to know that we're all here for you, and also you can be out there for other people. So just stay true to yourself and donate to the good causes.
Sure. Tough time of year, so take care of each other for sure. As far as my plugs, I do want to encourage you all to check out We Heard About Pluto. I try not to be annoying about it on this show and kind of save my plugging of it for Plutember, but in return, that means you guys should really take this plug to heart, and you should go listen to We Heard About Pluto, because I co-sign everything JP said. It is a lot of fun, and we have a really great time, and I think that the three of us, a great combo. I think that it's a lot of fun talking with you guys, and so that we get to all do it about a show that we all really enjoy.
That's right.
You know, who says no to that?
Yeah, it's such a great time.
You know, that's right, indeed.
I've heard it both ways.
I don't know that quote. As far as my plugs for this show, check out all of the other Plutember episodes. They were a lot of fun. JP did Lost Boys, Reese did Malignant, both great. I also just released the preview of the Patreon episode, The Last of Us Part 2, with Kevin Bartelt from The Flagrant Ones.
Oh, Dip.
Yeah.
Chef Kevin?
Chef Kevin. He's back, baby. He's back. Talking.
I have his apron.
Wow. There you go. Now you know. And that rhymes.
Give him a beat.
Give me a beat, baby. But yeah, so he came back to talk about that, and I put on the main feed, I put an hour of that episode, but that's just the context part. That has none of the plot discussion, a whole lot less of the theme discussion. So if you really want the goods, if you want the full 2 hour and 30-minute episode, which this is shaping up to be pretty close to that as well, then you got to check out the Patreon. Because the Patreon, for just five measly dollars a month, for less than a cup of coffee, for less than one vampire a month, you could support this podcast and show. I mean, it would mean a lot because, yeah, like JP said, I put a lot of work into it. You get all kinds of great stuff, like 2.5 hour episodes about The Last of Us Part 2, and we just talked about Basket Case 3 and also some of Basket Case 2 in that discussion. So really, we're all over the place. You know, you can get anything and everything. Lists. We did rankings of our top Simpsons Treehouse of Horror shorts from the first 10 seasons with some other Simpsons superfans. And that was a lot of fun. So much fun stuff. And as I shift into this other plug here very nicely, as I shift to the bi-weekly new schedule for the new year, any bonus stuff, any stuff that I feel compelled to do with my newly freed up time, that's going to go to the Patreon. So if you want to keep an eye on all the hot haps for Blahip, then the Patreon's the place to be. So check that out. And you can follow me on Twitter for as long as that exists at Little Horror PHL. And that username applies pretty much everywhere, including Instagram and Letterboxd. Send me an email with some questions at bestlittlemairbag@gmail.com. Rate and review if you're enjoying the show and you don't want to spend any money. I'm trying to get every plug in while it's like the last episode of the year. This is the big one, right? I don't know. Just have a good holiday season. Take care of each other, yeah, and have a good new year, you know? Here's my key to resolutions. Do something achievable. Something that you know you can do. Because you have something hanging over your head. That doesn't feel good. You wind up not doing it at all. But if you do something achievable, like one of mine was ride a longboard. I didn't say that I was going to be perfect at it. I got a longboard. I rode it a few times. And I decided it wasn't for me. But I tried something new. And I really enjoyed it for that little bit of time. And I felt good about doing it. And so something achievable, I think, is the key. So take that into your new year.
That's right.
George, thank you for bringing a really heartfelt and honest closing to the whole thing. This feels like a really good episode. Normally you end on like, I hate everybody.
Yeah.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
Well, here's my resolution, 1920 by 1080. Right?
Wow. I will say my real resolution, which is to watch all of the physical media that I have, but have not watched yet.
Oh, God. I'll never be able to do that. There's so much.
There's a lot, but I have already given up on... So I did the 365 challenge many years in a row. I did it for 4 years in a row where I watched 365 new-to-me movies every year.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, well, it started while I was unemployed. So, you know, I'm sure there was no depression in play. but this was the first year in a while that I'm not hitting that goal. And it's fine. I'm not mad about it or anything because that time went into the podcast instead. So I was doing something else valuable. And here is a beautiful, beautiful Bernard, right? That's Bernard?
That's Bernard, yes!
And I lost my train of thought. What was I just fucking saying? I was
Bernard
rambling.
Is very distracting. Look at this handsome boy.
I was rambling, so it probably wasn't that important. God damn it. All right. I'm signing off. Oh, wait, I do.
Yeah, from Bernard and the rest of us.
Yes, from Bernard and the rest of us. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Whatever it is you're celebrating. Just have a good winter, baby.
Plutember.
Watch this movie.
Yeah. Celebrate Plutember. And
give Plutember back to the boys.
That's right. Plutember. Plutember is for the boys, but in like the metaphorical sense where women and other genders are also included as part of the boys.
Right. Absolutely.
We are
the Boys, the TV show.
Right. Gender inclusive, the boys. Thanks, everyone. And I'm looking forward to Blahip in 2023. A lot of great stuff in store. All right. Bye.
Smooches!